right, guys, so Stephen Kostanski's newest movie, Deathstalker, is finally in the wild for some of us reviewers. I got a chance to check it out. Here are my thoughts. Let's get into it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void. My name is Alex. Today, we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Deathstalker. That's right, I finally get to talk about it. The embargo has been lifted for us reviewers. I'm a little bit behind, but that's okay. I wanted to share my thoughts and tell you about it anyway. I know that you saw my pre-thoughts and then my interview with Stephen Kostanski and Daniel, the actual star, Daniel Bernhardt, who is the action star for Deathstalker and is Deathstalker. If you have not seen that, you're definitely going to want to check it out. It's only 10 minutes and it's a lot of fun. Now, I didn't get to attend Fantastic Fest, but I wish I could have. I've just had so much that I wanted to do that I couldn't dedicate all my time to it. But Deathstalker aired there. I heard a lot of people really enjoyed it and had a really good time with it. Someone already commented in my comment section about it, so I'm really happy to hear that because I really enjoyed this movie. If you are a Stephen Kostanski fan, or you have liked the many weird films that he's made over the years, I think this is going to be a step up than you may even expect. This is definitely a sword and sorcery movie, but it's more than that. It's kind of like an homage to all of the different ones, all of the different movies that we saw probably growing up, like we talked about in the interview in this segment. Like, I'm seeing Masters of the Universe, I'm seeing like sword and sorcery, I'm seeing like everything in there. So it's kind of,
you can say Karl at some
Karl,
point.
Yes, 100% with the
I feel like
Dreadites.
I made Karl at times. I made Karl more than Deathstalker.
One of the greatest ones, honestly. It's like,
I mean, I'm pulling from me playing Magic cards as a kid. I'm pulling from Hexen on the N64. I used to play all the time. I was actually playing it as I was writing the script, so there's a lot of that game.
And your own stuff, obviously, because, like, you know.
Yes. There's a bit of Psycho Goreman in there, I think.
It wears all of its nostalgia on its sleeve, which is fine by me because I love all those films. I grew up on all those films. That was the candy we had to, like, for nourishment back in the day. I feel like today we get so many fucking crazy movies, like anything can be made anymore. Stephen Kostanski did a really good job. I'll tell you the story and what it's all about real quick. Essentially a reboot of the original movies, Deathstalker, Deathstalker 2. There was even a third and a fourth, which I never saw. This is the reboot of that classic from 1983, combining both of the movies, sort of, and then doing its own thing. And it's essentially about Deathstalker, who meets a couple of friends and goes on an adventure because he finds this specific medallion on a dying man, and it's stuck to him for life. He can't get rid of it, and he is tasked with being the legend that he is, Deathstalker, to thwart the evil from the land.
Against the Dreadites. Oh, wow.
He meets people like Doodad along the way, who is a tiny wizard that is voiced by none other than Patton Oswalt. We also have a thief that he meets along the way, a sort of love interest, perhaps, named Brisbane, and so much more. He gets into a lot of, you know, sticky situations along the way. This is a small, tiny budget film, but boy, do they really spend a lot of time making it look really big. Like, there is a lot of stuff that a big fantasy or dark fantasy film could do with a lot of money, and this is not one of those movies that has enough money to go out there with like hordes of people to fight. You know, we were talking about that in the interview here too.
Subconsciously, I think, structured it like that movie Ninja Scroll a little bit, where it's like going from fight to fight,
right?
And character is a different theme, has different powers, different weaknesses, basically just like a series of boss fights. I think that is the way to structure a movie like this, when you can't have like 1,000 guys fighting in a battlefield.
The goal is really to have condensed situations, condensed stories, little adventures along the way, and you can still make a really great movie with some great practical effects, creatures galore, and a lot of different fighting and sword styles that will pad out this entire movie. That was one of the things that when I did my interview that I was really impressed with, is that the fighting in this movie is actually very competent for a movie like this. And you would think this is a comedy movie first and then an action movie. No, it's actually a legitimate like action sword and sorcery film with humor put into it. When you go into this, yes, expect to laugh your ass off at a lot of really funny parts, but also remember you're watching a competent film that's actually taking some of the nostalgia you had as a child and bringing it into a new movie that combines all of your nostalgia and some new stuff and puts in an actual movie. So that's one thing I really like about this film. I understand that not everyone's going to be into every Steven Kostanski idea, but I think if you have the heart and the spirit of the films that they're referencing in this movie, like Karl, like He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, and, all those things that we grew up watching as a kid, I think you will have a home right here in Deathstalker. It's got a lot of really great things to like about it. I think it's a good film to watch in the theater. I think it'll be a fun movie for you. I mean, when's the last time you saw a sword and sorcery movie in the fucking theater? You haven't. Now, I don't want you going into this movie thinking, because every movie he's done is a little bit different from one another. I don't think that he has a specific formula, but there's always that, Steven Kostanski stamp on it with the humor that is really dark and really absurd sometimes and just funny. He thinks of situations on the spot almost and then puts them into the screenplay, and it really works really well, along with all the wonderful practical effects and gore. Oh my god, the amount of gore and blood in this movie, you would never get that in a sword and sorcery movie, okay? Like sometimes they show you a couple of bits. This movie packs it in more than you would expect, and that's kind of what I wish every single dark fantasy film would do moving forward. Will this spawn a whole series of dark fantasy movies coming out? I sure don't know, but I definitely think they've set themselves up to smack it out of the park with a sequel that should get a lot more money if you guys enjoy and love it just as much as I do. I would say that this is probably an 8 or an 8.5 on that scale. Do not go into this expecting Karl, okay? Karl's probably one of the highest paid dark fantasy movies other than Lord of the Rings. You can't just get that in a movie like this. But what you can find is the heart for all of those movies in this tiny movie that has a lot of heart and a lot of fun and a lot of really great action and just a fun time. I think you should definitely go check it out if you get a chance in the theater. I am definitely going to be picking up a copy of this, and I genuinely hope that they do the sequel, because I think if they had more money to do something, this could be really, really fun. So, I don't know. I like dark fantasy. I love my horror, don't get me wrong. But dark fantasy has some pretty cool stuff out there, that I've always been a fan of, that I really love to see on the screen. It's very artistic and dark and freaky, and I like it in my video games even. So, but yeah, I think you're pretty safe here. If you're a Kostanski fan, this is going to be definitely up your alley. I definitely liked it a little bit more than the last movie, but this is definitely more up my speed, and it's always kind of aimed at that demographic that has a nostalgia for a lot of these things anyway. So it is kind of niche in that regard, but I think anybody can really enjoy it. Even if you don't know those films, I think you might understand just the fun and the humor that's involved in this movie. Let me know what you think about this. Are you excited? Are you going to go see the movie in the theater? I don't know what else more I can say about it that I haven't already said in the 3 videos that I've done, but yes, I definitely enjoyed it. So I hope you guys will too. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button to let you know when I got new videos coming out, which we have aplenty. And we got some fantasy movies coming up very soon here, 4, as a matter of fact, that are from pre-Soviet Union, back in the day. Pretty cool stuff. Thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.